Jay, thanks for coming on the show, man.
No, thanks for inviting me.
Let's just jump right into it. What
100%.
the fuck is going on right now? I think everyone had some intuitions about the new year of like, okay, we're going to get the Trump pump, and now I think people are like, oh dear, we've already had
What's
it.
happening?
What? Why is it going down?
100%. So, first of all, not financial advice. You all know when you watch these kind of videos, please do your own research. But here's what I think about the market at the moment. There was a lot of chatter about a bullish January push, right? A lot of people say that there's going to be a Christmas dump last year, which happened as usual. Christmas generally people don't have much liquidity on chain or on sexes. Market makers start leaving and just leaving their bots around, and we have a temporary pump on a lot of interesting mind shared narratives. One of them, the main one, is AI. We saw a virtual pump from $1 billion to five. AI 16Z revived from the dead, 40 cents and everything. But now at the moment, the market is pricing in a lot more heavily in terms of the macro environment, which we're going to go through. And so let's talk about that. The initial jobs indicator that came out 2 days ago was a prime driver. If you take a look at the charts, exactly on 2 a.m. our time, AEDT, everything generally started going down from Bitcoin from 102, dropped down to 95 accordingly. It's all because everyone was in holiday and a lot of the market was illiquid, which is why we pumped quite well in the first few days of January when everyone started coming back to work. Books are getting rebalanced, people started buying. So that caused temporary relief. Bitcoin reached 102 on the news of Mara buying more. But it's still evident that people care about interest rate cuts, which is why we're having this macro driven muse of Bitcoin might not be a good investment to go in. And we saw that. Like the main overarching reason was the JOLTS jobs numbers, along with the ISM. So the main key driver is the ISM, which went higher than expected, which indicates that the inflation rate is going to continue gradually up because cost of manufacturing is going up since last month. And so, fortunately, yesterday the jobs numbers were solidified. So that's the reason why we had a little bit of correction to the upside. And today, we are actually waiting for the final piece of news for that's coming tomorrow, which is the NFP, non-farm payrolls. So the reason why we're looking at this is because a lot of the times these events, macro-driven events, are generally being hedged off by market makers, and that's the reason why we see this very crazy reaction towards alts. It's because a lot of these market makers and us also liquid funds, we do utilize leverage, uh, utilizing Bitcoin or Ethereum as collateral going into the alts. And so the very first few that sells off on these type of macro news are alts. That's why you saw the AI agents drop 40, 50%, the ones that went
Yeah.
up. And so there's a lot of UPNL in the world. And especially if you took a look at hype, right? It went from $30 to now 20 something. So a
Yep.
lot of hype has gone down a little bit, and reality sets in as macro news comes out. And so that's where we are right now. Consolidation because of that macro overhang that people are scared about. But in general, I don't think this thesis in crypto has changed. Bitcoin will continue to have inflows despite the DOJ announcement just about a few hours ago, right? DOJ is
Yeah.
gonna be selling, the US government is going to sell about 69,000 Bitcoin, which, that actually scares the market. So right now, Bitcoin tried to hit above 95, right? Currently, it's back at 93.9 or something. And so it reminds the market that when Germany sold about 60,000 Bitcoin, right? We went from what, 50 to 57 to 49 or something on that news.
Mm.
But with that news, there was very evident on-chain movements from the German government towards Coinbase, right? They transferred the Bitcoin. Right now, if you took a look at your favorite on-chain analytics tool, I use Arkham, the BTC is still there. So they haven't sold it yet. And so right now it's a little bit of an overreaction of a bearish news, which compounds what happened since Tuesday. And so that's where we
Yeah.
are right now.
With the DOJ Bitcoin stuff, I've seen a lot of chatter around, I would say, more permables being like, it's priced in. Do you feel like it's priced in?
It's getting priced in at the moment.
It's in process of
Getting
being priced in
priced
to the
in. Because, like,
downside.
just
Yeah.
looking back at what has happened in the past, it actually dumps when there is an actual on-chain movement. We don't have that yet. Like the Bitcoins are still stuck in their wallet. It's not moved to Coinbase Prime. We can go lower because we are not out of the clear yet in the macro news as well. So this is kind of a compounding effect. It's an if and when. And I'm not a permabull in Bitcoin. Trust me. Sometimes I sell my Bitcoin. I have to. I'm a trader. So at the moment, I feel like it hasn't really been priced in just because there's no on-chain movements. But it is a fair shout to say that it's not going to impact Bitcoin as much as it did in the past. Like, take a look at Germany's case when it happened with Germany. When the Bitcoin were sold, the ETF numbers were not as high as today. Like last time, in the past, it was like about 100 mil, 200 mil. The big trading volume, daily trading volumes were at 400, 500, where we have, in comparison to today, where the daily numbers is about 200, 300, 400. And the high limits of the ETF volume was 900. So we have close to at least 50% more ETF flows compared to 6 months ago. And so that's why I say it's fair to say that it could be priced in by the market, but it totally depends on whether or not there is more on-chain movements from their wallet and whether or not the ETF flow will continue to come back into Bitcoin. Because with that, I feel like
Okay.
I want to wait and see, especially with the NFP coming tomorrow. So I would be more inclined to say it's priced in or not with those conditions being met.
How do we feel about the inauguration? I've seen, again, this is just me kind of scraping sentiment along of, I think a lot of people are expecting a run into the inauguration, at least in
Interesting.
equities. As in I probably sit too much on the everyone says number go up side of Twitter. So I'm probably not doing good analysis. I'm more of a spot and chill guy. What's your thoughts on like dynamics heading into and then post inauguration? Because I feel like that's the big event that everyone's looking at of like, holy shit, he's going to be president. It's going to be crypto time. Let's go.
That's a great question, by the way, and I saw a lot of thoughts on it being very bullish. But in my view, I feel like January is historically a good month to allocate for your February and March bags. But it's terrible. If you took a look at last year, remember when the ETF came out January 11th, January 13th, we dumped 20%, right? And then after that, at the end of January, we started to consolidate and go up even further. So for the inauguration itself, I'm inclined to say that we don't pump towards it. We're going to consolidate under 100K for Bitcoin because people would be very scared still with the macro effects. And that we will have that gradual increase later on at the end of January when we start moving into February, where we actually can speculate on the FOMC rate cut, which is coming in the first week of February. So because I feel like the inauguration is just a symbolic sell the news, there's nothing really going to be pushed out on that day. There's no commentary that the SEC is going to, Gary Gensler is going to get out on that day too. That's probably a very bullish signal. So I can see why people will say we're going to pump towards it, but that's pure speculation at that point. So
It's mostly a good day for memes, if anything. It'll just be
yeah,
the timeline being
I
like, haha,
agree.
bye bye, Gary. That's it. But in
Yeah,
terms of actually bidding stuff, it's like that means
it's
nothing. We've known
not
this for a
really. Yeah,
while that he's going, and it's going to be a while until Paul Atkins
exactly.
hopefully gets in. Yeah.
Gets in. Fingers crossed, because if he's in, if Paul Atkins in, it'll actually boost up the probability of us getting proper regulation to support the
Yeah.
narrative to go forward. And I would say if you already own your bag and you haven't sold at the top in the first week of January, reassess how deep, because a lot of these AI projects, DeFi projects, they rely on the layer ones to actually do well. So Ethereum and
Mm.
Solana. And those two tokens are really correlated to Bitcoin doing well. Because we know the whole very old adage of saying if Bitcoin goes up, alts will tend to go up as well, but most of it will do nothing. And when Bitcoin goes down, everyone will bow down to the king. So
As I
it's,
very quickly discovered holding meme coins through November, December, and was like, oh, shit.
yeah,
So
it's,
I think that's also a good segue into this idea of people kind of calling for alt season.
mm,
I mean, it's been happening since midway through last year. I swear
yeah.
that's when it started to pick up. Of like, oh, we'll see BTC dominance kick down, alts will come up. Trust me, bro, it's coming. What's your read on alt season? I feel like it's a cursed term now. I see it on the
It is.
timeline every time I see someone say alt season. I'm like, fuck, okay, it's been
We're
delayed a
gonna
week.
down. We're gonna go
Thank
down.
you. Like, yeah.
But my thought is that, well, initial thoughts were that ETH BTC rules the alt season. So if ETH BTC goes, we'll go. But that has not played out in the past few months, has it? Like ETH hasn't really particularly outperformed. And instead of that, the ETH DeFis do well, but in only like a few weeks, and everything keeps on rotating. So, like, my thought is alt seasons are very specific. You have to actually know what you're doing if you're playing the alts these days, because retailers are no longer just retailers at this point. A lot of the DeFi power users are technically retailers, but they have other tools to help them with their decision making. So, I think if you say alt season, I believe we're not there at all. Because if you take a look at the Coinbase rankings, it's so far away from number one. Alt season was technically about 2 weeks before Christmas was over. Technically,
Mm.
just on the previous metrics of centralized exchanges be popping. So like during that time, the memes layer ones, Dino layer ones were pumping really hard. But this time
Yep.
around, when all of the fervor was over, it just shifted to AI. Like everything
Yep.
goes down, but AI at the moment and hype.
Yep.
And
And hype.
for me, like I think it's very specific now. I don't think we can just say that it's an alt season, everything goes up. That takes a lot of volume for us to actually go. And the problem is a lot of the volume in crypto is encapsulated in the ETFs. Because I don't trust the volume in crypto. Like a lot of them are wash trading. So I
Yep.
don't trust that. The only thing I trust is the ETF flows, and those ones will not go on chain to buy the tokens that are available. You know, you have Athena, Aave, Hype, you have Aerodrome, and the AI stuff in Solana and Base. All of them need a source of liquidity and also mindshare. So I guess those are the two important factors: mindshare and flow. So if you guys want to take a look at those two, probably take a look at Kaito AI and use
Mm.
Tom's referral link that he'll shill in somewhere in the podcast. And then
Thank you.
Kaito AI is very useful for mindshare, but also take a look at the AI agent tooling that is being built around everywhere else, because it's very useful if you are going into the trenches. Because alt
Mm.
season is no longer a all tide, all boats will rise with the tide kind of phenomenon. It's still very PvP. We have
Yeah.
changed dramatically since the 2020s, when alt season means everything goes up. Now it's very sector specific. You have to be very convicted in your decision and be smart about your risk management, because once you're wrong, a 20% drawdown on your whole entire portfolio will take you a while to get if you're wrong on the second run.
Mm.
So I'm still optimistic for an alt season, but this time around, not yet. So this is what my speculative mind is thinking. If Trump actually changes the regulation to a pro-crypto stance immediately after the 20th, now that's a different story where people are going to start bidding hard, really hard. But at the
Yep.
moment, alt season requires a few things, which is why I actually want to talk a little bit about the second wave of flu in the
Oh,
global standpoint. Have
okay.
you heard of anything about the newest like monkeypox, like the newest flu in China?
I have closed my eyes to it and just thought, please no.
So
But we can talk about it today. Let's go. Yeah.
overall, it has killed about 4,000 people to this date in the past 2 weeks. It has infected about 240,000 worldwide, and there's an indication of a shutdown in a few cities. So that reminds you of very, very similar situation of where COVID started. And it's an interesting fact because if we do have a pandemic again that actually stirs issues, it could drive up another potential 2020 run when interest rates will have to get cut. So that's my speculation right now, just ongoing, because this flu has officially also got into Melbourne. I think there is a few cases in St. Albans, so we'll see. But it's kind of bearish initially for the market because look at what happened in 2020. Like it price dump first. Then after that, we have the macro news of interest rates cuts and any further fiscal policies that'll affect risk on assets.
Holy shit. Okay. I was not up to date on the monkeypox side of things. Man, if they do another, like if there's another dump and then they do another like relief package, I just think we'll just have to accept inflation forever. We'll just be like, all
Yeah.
right, cool. I guess we're just getting free government money, just washing into the economy forever. Sorry, no one will be able to afford anything ever. Thank you for playing. Yeah, damn. Okay. That's an interesting thesis. That's the first one I've heard of, like hinging it on that again. Again, good for my bags, but I was
I
thinking
really
about
hope
it
not.
the other
Please.
day. I really hope not. I was talking about it the other day, like just purely hypothetically, like pre monkeypox news of like chatting with friends, being like, "Hey, what would happen if there was another pandemic? Do you think you would do the lockdown thing again?" And it was kind of like a unanimous, absolutely the fuck not. So I will be very curious to see what happens if they had to be like, "Guys, we're doing lockdowns again." I don't know if you'd get many people that would actually be like, okay, yeah, I'll be compliant this again.
Yeah,
Fingers
but
crossed
probably
that it
let's go
chills
back
out,
to
and I'm like, oh no. Heading into this year, and again, I did want to bring back the idea of using Mindshare on Kaito. I think it's so, just as a really, really basic tool for looking at where attention is, if you're in the trenches, having a look at the mindshare dominance of AI over memes was what consolidated for me the idea to just like capitulate my meme coin bags, like entirely. All of them got cut. Did I round trip a phenomenal sum of money? Yes, I did. Still sold like very well up from entries, but it's that kind of dumb attachment to paper gains that you go, well, it was never my money. That's not something I could ever be. You know, I didn't sell then, so I didn't get that. Congrats. But yeah, that Kaito tool of Mindshare, just as a really, really simple indicator, so good to see. Like, okay, AI, I think, is sitting at like, it was around about 80 or 84% Mindshare, and memes had slunk back to just, you can see the graph of just, and with AI,
Yep.
what is going on? Because I managed to sell AI 16Z for a loss. I decided I decided that I wanted to lose 13 sol instead of making $150,000. So that was a good decision. I had no idea when the AI meta appeared of what was happening. I literally bought AI 16Z because a friend of mine who I trust shilled it to me, and I was like, all right, ape now, research later. And then I sold before I researched, and then realized afterwards when it had run to $1 billion that I was like, okay, I probably should have bought the developer hub for AI agents on Solana. That was a bad call. But But yeah, there's so much going on. It moves so fucking quickly that I think people are just kind of every day you look and there's a new AI token that's sitting at 50 mil, and you're like, why? What does it do? What's happening? So yeah, I would love to hear your take on this whole AI agent being meme coins that talk, but there's some that have utility. What's going on?
100%. Like, full disclosure, I am not the AI guy at Greythorn. I think I'm not the smartest guy in the room about it, but I think I kind of grasp the reason why mindshare is extremely high. So first and foremost, I think it started because of an introduction of a new segment within AI. Because before September, I think AI was synonymous to a chain, like a near protocol, BitTensor, or DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure, like mobile, Hive, all those infrastructure stuff, right? But actually, users, retailers, more degen people on chain, they can't really use the product when they buy their token, right? And so the introduction of this crazy hype was actually because of the new it's a repackaged idea of a launchpad, which is what Virtual announced on September. When Virtual is a protocol on Base, and I'm sure a lot of everyone would know Virtual at this point. And if you haven't, go to greythorn.com and check my article about it. Anyways, Virtual started the trend about AI agents and launchpads, and they opened up a closed source SDK, Python SDK, to create your own AI agents. It started initially from there, where people start utilizing Virtual, the token, to build their own AI agents. Now, keep in mind, these AI agents can talk or they're just pump and dumps. So that idea of being able to allowing users to actually create their own project easily, seamlessly into an ecosystem, paired by the ability for them to create a liquidity pool on the fly, actually attracted a lot of the flows that was sidelined. Not a lot of people were buying into DeFi. Not a lot of people were buying into Solana because it's already kind of high. Like Solana last year was about $86, $70, right? Now it's at 200, 198 or something. So people started testing out their agents and realizing that, oh, okay, if I'm a developer, I can actually create my own project, get liquidity and funding through just launching a token, buying it by myself, and then after that moving on to create a community. And so it started there in September. And what the crazy part about that, it's also through the lead up about a lot of announcements from NVIDIA, Intel, focusing on their GPUs for AI specific co-processors. And so on the macro side, the market side, there's a lot of demand for AI already. It's just that it's not funneled enough for a regular user on chain to understand or how to use. So Virtual actually opened the floodgates. Now you see new projects that are launchpads, AI specific launchpads, like I forgot what's it called? Was it Arc, the Rust one? Arc.
Oh yeah, yep.
AI rig on
AI
Solana.
rig, yep.
Like I got in at 50. Like I thought I was buying the top at 170 mil, but now it's at 450, and then it just continues, right? So a lot of the mindshare then came on with AIXBT being one of the most popular AI KOL, and then people realize, okay, these AI agents are worth something, because in crypto, mindshare is your currency. And so because AIXBT started being popular, there is a lot more different LLMs that are starting to talk in crypto. Also, don't forget, Virtual was the base for that change, but the thing that popularized it in retail's eyes, especially in Solana, was Gotius Maximus. Remember that?
Yeah, yep.
That actually,
yeah, I've had Andy Avery on the show and chatted to him about the whole Gotius and now Farcoin. So yeah.
So that pushed a very strong trend for people to start bidding AI agents AI frameworks, AI launchpads, and not AI chains. So you see, yeah, people start
Yeah.
not caring about Near, BitTensor, and all those AI chains because they can clearly see a product being worked on live in social media. They can see it working. And so people start speculating on the next GOAT, on the next Cerebro, on the next virtual. And so it start building up like that, and it shows on chain. One of the liquidity pools is the most important thing for a
Mm.
project, right? And it started growing from there as well. So
Yep.
with that, now I think there's a lot more in that I don't know about. But what I do know is AI is here to stay, and it's going to be one of the fastest horses that are going to run for your portfolio, assuming that
Yep.
you're going to accept the risk, that is, because it can easily go down 50%.
Yep. Well, this is the thing with the AI tokens is they are horrific to trade. Like they are like emotional sagas to purchase. There's been multiple that have like been released in early December and then ran to 100 mil and then nuked to 20 mil and then gone back to 200 and like in like 12 hours. And so it's these kind of things where you've just got generational fumbles, buying the top, selling the bottom happening every week for traders. And they're just like, what the fuck is this? And so I think that's a very important thing to realize of like, for me, it was picking the AI agents that I could actually look at and think, okay, how do I see it playing out long term? Is there a product that is at least useful is a stretch, but is there a thesis that holds attention over time and brings people back to it? And it's something that I actually have to, agree with and think is useful, or at least attention grabbing for me as well. Like I saw Zero Bro and I just couldn't hack it. Like I was watching its tweets and I was like, I'm so sorry, but like I could never own this. I could never I could never own this thing. And then I listened to its music and I was like, I also can't own this. So you'll see me bear posting Zero Bro on the timeline. So sorry to any Zero Bro holders that are listening in. But yeah, I think it's interesting because Jensen Huang came out and was talking about how, AI agents are essentially the future of the, AI digital economy. And he was saying that yesterday, the day before. I did think, oh shit, top signal. He's talking about AI agents. We're in trouble. At least micro short term. But with the AI meta, I was trying to just like figure out how to categorize tokens into individual sectors because you have the AI agents themselves, which I think, again, Memecoins that talk is a decent descriptor for a lot of them. Like a lot of them deliver useful information. AIXBT is sick. It's the first like real AI KOL. I mean, Udi was giving it a quantum cat. You could, really debate the quality of its calls, but it delivers information to people and it just puts analysis on the timeline in a way that you're like, oh, okay, like that's reasonable information to be looking at. So I think it's helpful on the whole. But again, it's token. It doesn't have any, revenue or buyback system. It is literally just a token for the agent for buying. And if it goes up, it's because attention is on it. And that's kind of it. It is funny to me that meme coiners are the ones that are fudding AI the hardest. And I'm like, this should be a natural, like second order effect of your own thesis. This is all just attention. It's just a new type of attention with an irritating bot on the front of it. But that's all it is. And so I think, there's the AI agent section of like a thing, like a KOL that comes on the timeline and yaps away. There's also the category that CoinGecko has released of DeFAI, which is like D. I think they could have spent an hour brainstorming a better term, but here we are. So there's DeFi AI. It's catchy. And I think that's an interesting utility side. I don't know if it pans out, but I think that's what people are, at least for now, speculating on. That was one of the only sectors that ran while everything else was shitting the beds. That's Griffin, Hayanon, Orbit, Grift, and then Newer, which are like 4 main frameworks. But if you go over to Base, there's also DeFi AI stuff there. And this is like, I own it, but it's AI Crow Strategy. which is essentially like an AI fund that wants to do MicroStrategy on chain with Coinbase BTC, looped through Morpho. So it's got this whole thing. It's completely unreleased. It could still be, there's always the risk of rug of like devs just abandon the project.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see a lot of interesting stuff. Similar stuff with F Dream. It is an AI fund. I think the token is just F Dream, and it's essentially like a fund that is on base, and an AI agent helps collaborate AI projects into an AI fund. So it's just this kind of like fucking risk loop of just compiling AI risk. So it's like it leans on that side fairly heavily. So no, how do you feel it plays out compared with base and Sol next to each other? Because I feel like, the base team is going to push pretty hard to try and get attention on the AI side. Like if anything, tech is ETH's playground. Like they will almost, I feel like the ETH side will very easily attach itself to that narrative of like, fuck yeah, cool. Like we're actually doing stuff on ETH that's cool, that's new. How do you see that competition playing out between the two networks with AI?
Good question. I think I'm a Solana maxi at heart, so I have some biases. But
You're in good company. It's okay. This is the Solana Maxi podcast.
So like with Base, I do agree that they have a better ETH developer pool. They could technically deliver way faster than the Solana devs. Because it's only been recently that Solana Foundation has been pushing AI a lot more. You saw, I think I saw that contrasting change occur between November and December. Like before November, like Solana Foundation was very pro DeFi stuff first, initially. Like Jupe, what else was there? Camino, Drift, all of the AI, DeFi stuff. Solana Foundation tries to push that. While on the side, we're building with Send, if you know of Send AI, the Blinks. So on the side, they were helping the Send AI team to create a Send AI SDK and trying to combine AI projects together in Solana. And another part was also after November, between November and December, Solana Foundation started focusing on a lot of the AI stuff. After Goat, after Zeribo was out, they then after that started endorsing other, not officially, like totally focused on a lot of the AI stuff. So it started being more mainstream about holding Solana AI instead of base AI. However, like I feel like both chains offer different solutions to different AI tooling. So for the base, it's very entirely dominated by a lot of the virtual AI agents. And then after that, you have extra stuff that's starting to build. And I feel like base could potentially get faster traction in terms of development because of involvement from Coinbase. However, on the other side, Solana is... To me, I still feel like Solana is way faster than a base transaction. And also with the new upgrades on Firedancer, if you haven't read up on it, they're going to do version 0.03 testnet on the Franken Dancer for all validators, and they have to do it at the end of the week. So with that and Firedancer coming closer, Solana is just going to have a faster TPS on trying to create inferences for AI agents and AI tooling. So for me, like objectively seeing it in that standpoint, I feel like the Solana chain could provide a better base for AI, while on base that you have support from Coinbase and a bigger ETH dev stack that'll bring that stability in terms of trying to keep the mind share up. But ultimately, retail is going to always go back to to Solana first, just because it has more BD compared to Base. Base is only layer 2 for Coinbase, and Coinbase can do only so much. While Solana has a whole entire team of centralized exchanges who are fully invested in Solana to do well. So they're going to pump their backs. And so that's why I feel like I'm leaning on this to Solana, especially because if you take a look at the most expensive AI project, which is currently, I think it's either Fartcoin or AI 16Z, one of the two. I haven't checked the prices. But those two are still relatively cheaper than the most expensive ones in base. And if you take a look at orders of hierarchy, a lot of the Solana AIs are still cheaper compared to the base ones. And if you take a look at the on-chain activity, because of Meteora, there's a lot of retailers who are farming AI tokens for liquidity. They're not caring about the price. And so that there is a lot more opportunity for you to get in size in AIs in Solana compared to base. So that's why I'm a bit more bullish on the development doing well in Solana just because of those four factors. Foundation is focusing on it. Retail is participating in the liquidity pool. There's a lot of mind share in terms of the AI agents within Solana, and it's still relatively compared to the base valuations, it's a bit cheaper.
Yep. Well, yeah, I felt like a heathen bridging to base to buy some AI stuff. I bridged Solana USDC, like USDC from Sol to base, just because I have like no liquidity on ETH, and I was like, oh no. And I think that they're all down like 60%, and I'm like, see, this is what I get for going to fucking base. But in all seriousness, I was speaking with a founder who will remain unnamed here, but they were talking about why they launched, like essentially they were going through the process of launching a token and looking at a framework, and this has been in the works for months, and they ultimately landed at Solana. And they said it was actually like a snap decision that was really easy. Like they'd been kind of, looking at it for months, and they were like, oh, well, we are like more on like the ETH side, so we wanted to stay there. And then they essentially got everyone in a room together, and within about 5 minutes, they had decided that Solana was the place to go. Because they're like, oh, it's just an L1. It's fast. It's easy. We're going to fucking launch it there. And I was like, okay, that's simple. So the UX is it's cleaner than base as well. I just think it's one of those stumbling blocks of like, having to open up. God forbid, if you're still using MetaMask, please use Rabby.
Please use Rabby. You're using MetaMask.
Or anyone, just use a different fucking wallet. Like I can't. I have to use MetaMask. Bro. I have to use MetaMask for some like really specific on-chain shit, and occasionally I'm like, oh, how is this the most like? How did the biggest, most well-funded development like foundation company drop this? Like it is 2025, and this still, it feels like I'm using Windows 98, which is probably rude to Windows 98. That shit was sick. But yeah, no. So Solana, I think, is just like for me, purely from the UX side, I'm like, it's going to be what retail keep coming back to. I know we're both Solana maxis, so we'll do some Solana shilling here. My take for this year is that Solana still continues to outperform ETH. I know that that's a hot take, but I just do think that Sol ETH is, because everyone's saying like, well, Trump's building World Liberty Financial. We've got a crypto-friendly SEC. It's going to make Ethereum more, I guess, accessible. It's going to make things like easier for ETH heading into 2025. And I'm like, well, why? That's a pretty easy thing to see. Why hasn't the market priced this in at all for ETH? Like if everyone else was thinking that, ETH would be up more. So why isn't it? Are we waiting for the SEC to become full pro crypto, and then it's like, oh, God candle? I don't know.
To the downside.
Yeah, to the downside. It's cursed every single time. And this is me. I'm sure Anthony Sassano will kill me for this, but like, every single time that ETH pumps, the market shits the bed. It's like we get an ETH pump, and it's like, and got to wait a week for numbers to go up again. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. ETH has been incredibly underperforming every single metric every single time, to a point that I feel like you shouldn't even own ETH. Feels like it's just gonna get skipped over, unfortunately. Like, I used to be an ETH maxi, okay? Like, I love ETH, but
Same.
Here's the fact, like, Gwei is at 4 at the moment. No one's using ETH layer 1. No one's using it. Everyone's moved on to base or other layer twos, and like with mega ETH coming, like what's the use case of ETH in terms of being sound money? Like it's not quite sound based on the velocity of the volumes coming in ETH layer one. And if their argument is blobs, there's not a lot of blobs. Celestia is still at $5. Egan layer's not doing well. I feel like they're building, but it's what I know is the thing that they're trying to push now is the AI narrative, which will clearly, like what you said, your friend moved to Solana instead. Like it's way easier UX. There's more developer support. Why are you buying something that's more expensive, more well-renowned? Yes, because of the ETF, but everyone's gonna get ETF. It's gonna be like Oprah Winfrey. You're gonna get an ETF. Everyone's gonna get an ETF. So everyone's gonna have that flow eventually, especially from institutions who are like thinking of buying more XRP, Solana, bigger caps. So Ethereum's gonna lose its competitiveness in terms of a collateral asset versus more like faster chains like Solana, Sway, Say, Aptos, and everyone. Not saying that those other four, apart from Solana, is gonna pump, but they're gonna lose that eventually. And so, like with ETH, I feel like if you're owning ETH, that's basically you're just gonna hold another 4 years to make sure to get to 12K, because I don't think it's gonna go all-time high anytime soon. Just because I'm sure you've heard of the Ethena story, where the reason why ETH isn't going up is because Ethena continuously have shorts on. Well, I'd argue that because of the shorts, there's more liquidity to the upside. There's not enough capture of catalysts, because we do know that there's a new upgrade again coming this year. I forgot what it's called for ETH that's supposedly going to change the way ETH is going to be used within the ecosystem, including layer twos. But that's still, like, I don't know when that's going to come out. And so ETH is just going to underperform Bitcoin and Solana every time. And whenever Bitcoin shits the bed, Ethereum is gonna shit even harder. Like, so it's very hard to justify holding ETH. And to your point with the World Liberty Financial, if you're bullish on Trump, I don't think owning ETH will help your portfolio. It's more like you decide to invest in the ETH DeFi that World Liberty buys, basically.
Yep.
It's not the ETH. You should have bought Aave, you should have bought Chainlink, you should have bought Athena. But then again, if you copied their trade, you would have been down today.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been fascinating to observe like the level of just like to which the like ETH has just consistently underperformed since, to the point where it's like I swapped my cold stack ETH into Sol. I think I marked the local top of Sol ETH, but anyway, like I'll go find my tweet and stick it on a chart so everyone can see like this is a real trader. And I did it right before the actual ETH God candle at the end of the year, so I was like, nice. But yeah, no, like I just look at Solana ecosystem heading into the next year, and for a very long time I've kind of tacitly held the opinion that like Solana is not a coin that I want to hold late cycle. Maybe it's just bag holder syndrome kicking in for me now because I'm so like adjusted to the Solana ecosystem and I like it so much just from like a UX side. I think maybe it is something I do want to actually hold on to for like a lot longer, simply based on now I think the AI meta has really shifted my approach on what Sol has to offer. Because there was a point towards the end of last year where I was heavy memes, I was looking at Sol and I was thinking, ooh, like what does it have going for it apart from, yeah, again, like an ETF at some point. But I'm not holding out if we're going to be handing out ETFs to every single crypto asset. Like if fucking Hedera is going to get an ETF, I'm not. I'm not holding my like Solana based on like a huge chunk of Solana based on this idea of like, well, there'll be a fund. It's like, yeah, there'll be a fund for everything. So exactly. I think that the AI meta has kind of like reinvigorated my like spirit for Solana. Heading into next year, because it's like if that's actually where we're going to launch tokens, that's where we're going to have launch pads that are going to be readily available for degenning. because we have to, like, I'm thinking of it as the Memecoins 2.0. Whether or not it's the same size, I think I have a bit of PTSD now, so I don't think I'm as bullish as I once was as to like the level of retail flow that we'll see into the AI meta, just because it's so fucking confusing and it moves so quickly, and people will probably get rinsed really hard on it. I think that would change very quickly if we saw some PVE on agents, where we just see like a month of everything clips up. That's when you get people being like, oh shit. People telling their friends, I turned $40 into 10K on, splooge agent. So it's like, we'll have to see. But I think Solana is probably, my favorite major to hold heading into 2025. We'll revisit this in 6 months and see whether we're on the right side of history.
Whether, like the February and March unlocks, like people make a big deal about it, but honestly, it's not the significant unlock. And if you took a look at Sway, every time there is an unlock, price goes up by 5%. We're in a bull market at the moment, so it's not really a bearish unlock like what we had last year between May and September. Like when you saw all the layer ones had unlocks, it just dumps immediately. But during December until March, it typically is a bit more inflows than outflows, no matter what the correction is every year. So I'd like to just scale down the expectation that it's gonna dump really hard, because if it does, we've known about it for 8 months now. Surely it's been priced in. Like probably there's gonna be a red candle on that day, and then what else? There's still a lot of people buying Solana. And there's still a lot of people using it to make new agents. That's the thing. And like with the Eliza OS from AI16Z, it allows people to make agents just like people make agents on virtual. The difference is you don't need to ask permission. And so like it just goes on. Like a lot of demand will continue to come into Solana. But just to make it like a bit more objective, I do still think that Solana's main casino is still a problem for overall issues. Like Pump.Fun, they have officially sold how much now? $360 million of Solana. It's not stopping. So we have to accept the fact that we need Pump.Fun and its affiliates to continue their work. And if their volume dries up, at that point, I do hope AI agents and their new launch pads replace it. Because we do need like more diversification in projects, and ideally, like I'd rather have it in different types of sectors. Like we have a very strong casino, online casino, basically on Solana. Everyone degens there, but the one thing that's lacking is the attention on DeFi. But that's unfortunate because I feel like DeFi is kind of boring. No one's gonna go invest in it for a long run. And we all know that eventually the airdrop farmers are just going to dump their token. We saw that in all of the tokens available. And so the next step
unless
is
you're
probably,
hyperliquid. Yeah.
Hype is hype. Hype is hype. Like I'm not going to sell anymore. Like I'm done selling. I'm going to hold my hyperliquid now.
Yep.
Oh yeah, so for the Solana ecosystem, I still feel like there's some bearish indicators leading with the DeFi side. Because there's a lot of turmoil in terms of protocol upgrades and collaboration between the bigger ones, but we'll just leave that for a different discussion, because I feel like there's a lot of hearsay, speculation, and everything. So, but the focus now is that Solana has pivoted into AI fully. I feel like that chain really wants to have AI really well, because like technically I can't actually confirm this, but Solana is quantum resistant apparently with the newest upgrade.
I saw the dev say that. Yeah.
So with that, it leans into the AI narrative for being the most innovative chain out there. Apparently, I can't really verify this. With that, it's gonna do well, even with the unlocks, even with the Pump.Fun selling. But you gotta wait. Just be patient.
Yeah. Well, the Pump.Fun thing is interesting. That's I feel like that was very concentrated towards like Solana activity. Was like, yep, we've got the casino, and it was like, and what else? Crickets. You're kind of like, well, we can buy meme coins. But I know that Pump.Fun are doing a token 2025. No information is out on it as to what size it'll be, who's getting it, what kind of like you bought the most shit coins in 2024, so here's a token. I don't know, but that'll be interesting. And yeah, the diversification across sectors I think is so important. So it's not just if Pump.Fun, if no one fucking uses it, then the entire chain goes, like ranges or kind of slides. Dude, what are you like bullish on in 2025? What are you looking at in terms of projects? This is a safe Shilio space. What are the things that you look at in 2025 and think like, fuck yeah?
So for the near term, like at least for January and February, definitely AI agents. So I think we've finished our draft on the AI 16Z token. So that's gonna come out actually tonight. It's already sent to our Greythorn Soul holders. So if you want a little bit more alpha on stuff, we do talk about it on our own alpha channel. And AI 16Z is a token that we missed. It's the one AI token that we did not get in crypto, in Solana. Two. It's just AI 16Z and Fart Coin. Unironically, it's the two that pumps the most. However, AI 16Z I feel like is going to continue to get more mind share going forward. You take a look at the GitHub, a lot of the AI agents that are being created on Solana are using ELIZA OS. The current LLMs and other agents are partnering with ELIZA Labs. They do have a grant utilizing the 11% circulating supply with ELIZA. So I feel like AI 16Z is going to be a mainstay. So AI 16Z, then after that, it goes down the list, right? It's just like virtual. Like if you buy virtual, you buy Convo, game, blah, 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 blah. For this, it's AI 16Z. Then after that, you go down the list again, Graphane, ELIZA, ARC. There's a few more, but one other project that I just took a look at yesterday was this project called AICMP. So it's an AI agent for improving the efficiency of Bitcoin miners. I know it's a bit weird, but it's something that I just found. But going into past February, I can't, predict the future. The only thing I can know is like at least now we have a positive inflow for Bitcoin. So like my own personal holding is just Hype, Bitcoin, Solana, few AI agents, which is the Solana AI agents, and Cloud. That's it. So like those are my holds at the moment, but I'm hoping that there's newer projects that'll come, which we will never know yet. So like for example, Hype, no one really knew about Hype until it actually turned into Hype. And in October, November, like everyone was doing the farming, sure, but no one knew about Hype until the token was out. So who knows, maybe there's another AI agent or AI framework or AI launchpad that comes out, maybe not in Solana, maybe in Sway, that actually becomes the pivoting driver for AI growth again. So overall, arching thing is I think 2025, I'm bullish on AI in general, just because traditional finance is also, no, not traditional finance, traditional markets are also betting on AI with higher valuations than I thought was even possible. Like $10 trillion. I was like, what the fuck? Like, no way can we ever go there. But who knows? Like, I never thought that Apple is going to be valued like this 20 years ago. So you'll never know. And that's my key takeaway for this year. And another takeaway is also remember the adage, like sell in May, go away, wake me up in September. And please listen to that because the business cycle follows that trend. If you're ever in a position and it's already May, good luck. Like, just make sure don't hold onto your bags too long because it's a very PvP environment. Like, you don't want to be a community member.
Yep. I did that last year. I was like, sell in May, I'm up so much. Why would anyone do this? And then spent the next 5 months being like, this is why you sell in May and go away. So this time around, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen. Mate, thanks so much for coming on the show, dude. That was awesome. Jay, where can people find you? What's your socials? What do you got coming up?
So my socials just on Twitter, OXJ_Thorn, and obviously OX Greythorn on Twitter as well. We post, I think, bi-weekly research. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for having me. See you, Tom.